Have you ever wondered why some people rise while others remain stuck, even though they all started at the same point? It's not talent, it's not luck, it's not even opportunity, it's consistency. That unshakable force that pushes winners to show up when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one's cheering. Today, I want to speak directly to that fire inside you, the part that knows you're made for more but keeps getting held back by inconsistency, distractions, and doubt. This message isn't just motivation, it's a wake-up call. If you want to change your life, if you're tired of starting over again and again, then stay with me till the very end of this video. Because I'm going to show you the truth behind consistent action and how it separates dreamers from doers and excuses from breakthroughs. You're not here by accident. You clicked this because something inside you is ready to level up. This is your moment. Don't just watch, engage, commit, and transform. Let's begin. When we talk about success, transformation, or any meaningful progress in life, we often picture a moment of breakthrough, a dramatic shift, a major win, a life-altering realization. But what if I told you that those moments are never the beginning? They are the result, the visible peak of a mountain built one brick at a time. The real secret is not hidden in some grand strategy or genius-level insight. It is in the simple, unglamorous power of taking small actions consistently, every single day. We live in a world that celebrates the big wins. Social media, books, and even the people around us tend to glorify instant success stories. We see the before and after pictures, the first place trophies, the viral videos, and the million-dollar launches. But what's rarely talked about is the process, the tiny daily steps that compound quietly over time and eventually create momentum so powerful it becomes unstoppable. You don't wake up fit and strong because of one intense workout. You don't become financially free by saving a huge chunk of money once. You don't build deep, lasting relationships by saying the perfect words in a single moment. You become those things through the repetition of small, purposeful actions. A 10-minute walk every day, saving $5 instead of spending it, sending a kind message to a friend, reading one page, writing one idea. These things may seem insignificant in the moment, but over weeks, months, and years they stack up. They grow, they evolve. And one day you find yourself on a new level of life, not because of what you did once, but because of what you did again and again when no one was watching. Consistency doesn't care about talent. It doesn't demand perfection. It only requires that you show up, that you try again, that you don't let the lack of immediate results fool you into thinking your effort doesn't matter. It does. And it always will. Because the world rewards those who keep going. We often underestimate how powerful we truly are when we simply decide to commit. Consistency becomes a force that shapes our habits, disciplines our minds, and over time transforms our reality. The problem is that most people give up too early. They try something for a week, maybe two, and when the results don't scream loud enough, they quit. They move on. They chase something else. And in doing so, they break the very rhythm that would have delivered the breakthrough they were hoping for. Think about a tree growing. The roots spread beneath the ground for weeks and months before a single sprout appears above the soil. But when it does, it grows with stability and strength, because its foundation was built slowly, steadily, without applause. That's what your life can become when you honor the process and trust the power of daily, consistent action. Every great achievement, every inspiring life, every world-changing mission began with a choice to take one small step, then another, then another. Not perfectly, not always excitedly, but consistently. And that's where the real power lives. Consistency at its core is an act of discipline, not of motivation. Motivation is fleeting. It's a burst of energy that comes and goes, often sparked by external inspiration or emotion. One day you wake up feeling unstoppable, ready to conquer your goals. The next day you feel tired, overwhelmed, or distracted by life's constant noise. If you only act when motivation strikes, you will build nothing of substance. True progress is forged in the moments when you act despite not feeling like it. That's where discipline steps in, and that's where consistency gets its power. Discipline is the muscle that grows stronger each time you choose to follow through on your commitments, even when you're tired, discouraged, or uncertain. It's waking up early to work on your dream, even when no one's clapping. It's choosing to go to the gym, not because you feel like it, but because you said you would. It's writing the chapter, making the call, studying the material, even when the results aren't immediately visible. And this type of discipline doesn't just build habits, it builds character. When you lead a life anchored in discipline, you create structure in the chaos. You begin to develop mental clarity, emotional resilience, and spiritual endurance. You start making decisions not based on how you feel, but on who you are committed to becoming. And this shift in identity is what unlocks long-term transformation. Because when your actions align with your vision, especially on the hard days, you're telling yourself and the world that you're serious, that you can be trusted, that you're willing to do what most won't, so you can live a life most never will. And the beautiful thing about discipline is that it compounds. The more you do the hard thing, the easier it becomes. You build momentum, you become more efficient, more confident, and more focused. You stop negotiating with your goals, and you start executing regardless of your emotional state. The truth is, waiting to feel ready is the enemy of progress. The people who build incredible businesses, meaningful relationships, fulfilling careers, and strong bodies are not the ones who always feel like doing the work. They are the ones who do it anyway. They understand that feelings are temporary, but consequences are permanent. So they show up. They follow through, they finish what they start. Not because it's easy or exciting, but because they've decided that discipline is a non-negotiable part of who they are. And that mindset, that commitment, is what separates the dreamers from the doers. It's what takes a wish and turns it into a reality. And it's available to anyone who's willing to trade temporary comfort for long-term purpose. The path of consistent action isn't paved with perfection, it's paved with persistence. And discipline is the compass that keeps you on course when everything around you is trying to pull you off track. It's how mountains are climbed, how empires are built, and how greatness is achieved, one steady step at a time. Clarity of purpose is the fuel that ignites consistent action and gives meaning to discipline. Without a clear vision, you wander aimlessly, driven by whims and distractions. But when you know exactly what you're aiming for, every action, no matter how small, feels like a step forward. Purpose acts as a compass that keeps you moving in the right direction, especially when the journey feels long or uncertain. It is what transforms ordinary routines into powerful rituals. You no longer go through the motions simply to check boxes. You do them with intention because they are tied to something bigger than you. Clarity of purpose gives your daily grind a backbone, a why that strengthens your willpower. You wake up knowing why your actions matter, why your sacrifice is worth it, and why quitting is not an option. The difference between those who persist and those who give up is rarely about talent. It's about vision. When you see your destination clearly, the detours won't distract you. You'll be able to say no to things that don't serve your mission, and yes to the hard things that move you forward. That kind of clarity cuts through doubt. It silences the noise of comparison, and it eliminates the temptation to chase every shiny object. It brings focus. It simplifies decision-making. It strengthens resolve. The people who succeed consistently in any area of life are not necessarily the smartest or the most skilled. They are the ones who are rooted in purpose. They don't just act, they act with direction. They know where they are headed, and they understand that consistent, aligned action is what will carry them there. When you connect your goals to your deeper purpose, the resistance you face becomes easier to endure. Suddenly the obstacles are no longer threats. They are proof that the mission matters. Because anything worth building will be tested. But if your foundation is strong, if your purpose is clear, you won't be shaken. You will bend but not break. Purpose turns pressure into power. It transforms fear into fuel. It gives your effort significance and makes the journey worthwhile. Without purpose, hard work feels like punishment. With purpose, hard work feels like investment. And that shift in mindset makes all the difference. It's why the best athletes train even when they're injured. It's why entrepreneurs keep building when the money hasn't shown up yet. It's why leaders keep leading, even when no one's listening. Because they're not just chasing a result, they're answering a call. A call that is bigger than comfort, louder than doubt, and stronger than resistance. If you don't take the time to define your purpose, the world will define it for you. You'll be pulled in 100 directions and achieve very little of what truly matters to you. But when you know your why, you can endure anyhow. You can keep moving, even when progress is invisible. You can show up, even when applause is absent. You can finish the race, even when the path is uphill and lonely. Purpose breeds consistency, not because it makes life easier, but because it makes struggle meaningful. It puts fire in your belly and steel in your spine. It gives you a reason to keep showing up, keep fighting, and keep building, day after day, until the life you envision becomes the life you live. Momentum is not a gift reserved for the lucky, it's built through action, one step at a time. You don't stumble into progress, you create it by showing up consistently, regardless of how you feel. One of the greatest lies people believe is that motivation has to come before action. But the truth is, motivation follows movement. When you take even the smallest step forward, you generate energy. That energy becomes motion, and motion becomes momentum. It's not about taking massive leaps every day, it's about refusing to stay still. Each time you follow through on a promise to yourself, you reinforce a pattern of reliability. And that pattern is the foundation of momentum. It's like pushing a heavy flywheel. The beginning is the hardest part, but once it starts to turn, even a light push keeps it going. The early steps may feel insignificant, but they are the seeds of unstoppable growth. Inconsistency kills momentum. Every time you stop and start again, you lose ground. You spend more energy restarting than you would by maintaining a steady pace. Progress doesn't require perfection, but it does demand persistence. A small steady stream of action will carve a canyon deeper than a short burst of effort ever could. Momentum builds confidence. Each completed task, each fulfilled commitment, each step forward reminds you that you are capable. And when you feel capable, you stop waiting for permission. You stop doubting your ability. You begin to trust your process, even if the results haven't fully shown up yet. That trust is crucial, because the road to success is rarely straight or smooth. There are delays, detours, disappointments. But momentum makes it easier to keep moving when things don't go as planned. You're no longer driven by how you feel in the moment. You're driven by the direction you've committed to. Momentum compounds over time. The efforts you put in today may not pay off immediately, but they're stacking in your favor. Every decision to take action adds weight to your momentum. Skipping one day may not ruin everything, but string enough of those days together and the wheel stops turning. And when it stops, it takes double the effort to get it moving again. That's why it's important to protect your momentum, like it's sacred. Guard your habits. Choose your priorities wisely. Eliminate distractions that pull you off course. The enemy of momentum is not always failure, it's often comfort. When things start to go well, people relax. They take their foot off the gas. But if you want to keep growing, you can't afford to coast. You must stay hungry. You must stay intentional. Momentum is not something you get to keep just because you once earned it. You have to fight for it, preserve it, and continue to feed it with daily effort. Sometimes progress feels invisible. You do the work, but the results don't show up right away. That's when most people quit. But those who understand momentum know better. They know that consistency always catches up to them. They trust the power of accumulation. One more rep, one more page, one more conversation, one more day of discipline. That's how you win. Momentum is not loud. It's not flashy. It's not always recognized. But it's what separates those who talk about change from those who create it. It's what turns effort into excellence, intention into achievement. So keep moving. Keep showing up. Keep building your own momentum. Because once it's on your side, nothing can stand in your way. Discipline is not just about willpower, it's about deciding in advance what matters most and then aligning your actions to that decision every single day. People often confuse discipline with restriction, as if it's something that holds you back from joy or spontaneity. But the truth is that discipline is the key to freedom. It liberates you from the chaos of impulse and the instability of emotion. When you're guided by discipline, you don't wait for the perfect mood, the right timing, or a surge of motivation. You execute because you made a promise to yourself, and you honor that promise whether it's convenient or not. That kind of integrity builds trust in yourself, and that trust is the foundation of long-term success. Too many people are living by emotion rather than by principle. They let their feelings determine their effort. But if your actions are dictated by how you feel, you'll always be at the mercy of inconsistency. Discipline removes that volatility. It allows you to rise above your circumstances and act in alignment with your goals, not your mood. That is how champions are built, not through inspiration, but through structure. They don't succeed because they feel like it every day. They succeed because they act like it, especially on the days they don't feel like it. That's where real growth happens. That's when transformation takes root, not when everything is easy, but when you choose to be faithful in the hard moments. Discipline creates momentum. When you set a standard for yourself and meet it repeatedly, that rhythm carries you forward. You start to realize that action doesn't always follow motivation. Sometimes motivation follows action. One step turns into two, two turns into 10, and before you know it, you've built a habit that sustains you. But discipline isn't built overnight. It's a muscle that's developed through daily repetition, through showing up and doing the work long after the excitement has worn off. And like a muscle, the more you exercise it, the stronger it becomes. Discipline makes hard things doable. It turns impossibilities into daily routines. It gives you the ability to delay gratification, to stay focused, and to keep moving toward your vision without being distracted by every obstacle or opportunity that doesn't align with your purpose. People often wait for the right circumstances to start acting with discipline. They want to feel ready. But discipline doesn't wait for readiness, it creates it. You don't become disciplined because life gets easier. You become disciplined so that when life gets harder, you are prepared. You don't build a strong character when everything is going your way. You build it when you stick to your path in the middle of storms. And the reward of discipline is not just the achievement of your goals, but the transformation of who you become along the way. You become someone who can be counted on, someone who finishes what they start, someone who keeps their word. That identity is priceless, because when you believe in your ability to follow through, there's nothing that can intimidate you. There will always be days when you feel like quitting. There will be seasons where progress feels slow, where success seems far away. That's when discipline becomes your anchor. Not your emotion, not your circumstances. Discipline. It reminds you why you started. It keeps you aligned with your values. It gives you a framework to operate in, so you don't lose your way when things get tough. And the beauty of discipline is that it compounds. One disciplined decision leads to another, and over time those small daily victories create extraordinary results. So don't chase perfection. Don't wait to feel inspired. Decide who you want to become, and let discipline take you there, one consistent, intentional action at a time. Consistency in action is what separates fleeting desire from lasting achievement. Anyone can want something once, act on impulse, or be inspired in a moment of excitement. But the ones who change their lives, who create legacies, are those who show up day after day, even when no one is watching, even when nothing seems to be happening. Consistency is the bridge between vision and reality. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, it's not always exciting, but it is dependable, and that dependability is what fuels real progress. People often underestimate what can be accomplished through small, repeated actions. They want big leaps, dramatic breakthroughs, overnight success, but success doesn't work that way. It honors those who remain faithful in the little things. It rewards those who choose to plant seeds daily, trusting that in time, the harvest will come. When you act consistently, even when results are invisible, you build something deeper than momentum. You build character. You develop internal strength. You become someone others can count on. More importantly, you become someone you can count on. That's the real reward of consistency. It's not just in what you achieve, but in who you become by refusing to give up. You learn patience, humility, and resilience. You stop chasing validation and start building value. The world may not notice you at first. People might overlook your efforts. But consistency doesn't need applause. It needs purpose. It needs clarity. When your why is strong enough, your consistency becomes unshakable. That's why it's important not just to act, but to act with intention. Each step should be aligned with a vision greater than your current circumstance. The mistake many people make is confusing lack of visible progress with lack of value. Just because you don't see results yet doesn't mean your actions are meaningless. The most powerful changes are often happening beneath the surface. Roots are forming. Foundations are being built. You don't dig up a seed every day to check if it's growing. You water it, you nurture it, and you trust the process. That's what consistency demands: trust in the unseen, confidence in what you're building even when no one else sees it. And over time, that trust turns into evidence. You begin to see the fruits of your discipline, the outcomes of your sacrifice, but it all starts with the decision to keep going, to remain steady, to not quit when it's hard or slow. Consistency is also contagious. When people see you show up without fail, when they watch you live out what you preach, they are inspired to do the same. Your example gives others permission to believe that they too can be steady, focused, and intentional. You become a living testimony that growth is not always about speed, but about direction. It's not about intensity once in a while, but about daily commitment. And when you combine consistency with time, the results are exponential. You build habits that serve you for life. You create systems that replace emotional decision-making. You move from chaos to clarity, from hustle to alignment. That's the power of consistent action. It creates a life of purpose, integrity, and peace. It won't always feel rewarding. There will be days of doubt, frustration, even boredom. But that's where the transformation is happening. In your willingness to be faithful when it's not exciting, in your ability to keep showing up, not for applause, but for growth. Because in the end, your life will be shaped not by what you did occasionally, but by what you did consistently, not by your biggest moments, but by your smallest commitments, honored over time. That's the truth most people miss, and that's where your greatest strength will be found, not in sudden bursts of greatness, but in the quiet, steady rhythm of never giving up. When we look at the lives of those who have achieved greatness, not just in wealth or fame, but in purpose, peace and legacy, we find one common thread. It wasn't brilliance that carried them. It wasn't connections or resources alone. It was the daily decision to show up, to act even when it was hard. To stay faithful to the process when nothing seemed to change. Consistent action is not about perfection. It's not about doing everything right. It's about doing something right over and over again. It's about aligning your actions with your values, your goals with your habits, and your vision with your discipline. The people who change the world, the ones who build something meaningful, they all learned that power doesn't come from bursts of inspiration, but from the quiet strength of persistence. So today, wherever you are, whether you're starting from scratch, picking up the pieces, or climbing the next mountain, remember this: the road to everything you want is paved with small steps taken every single day. Don't underestimate the power of showing up. Don't let setbacks convince you that you've failed. Every move forward counts. Every effort matters. Keep going. Thank you for watching and sharing this journey with me. If this message stirred something in you, if it challenged you, lifted you, or reminded you of your purpose, don't keep it to yourself. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Let's keep showing up, together. Because your consistent action might just inspire someone else's breakthrough. Stay strong, stay steady, and keep walking in purpose.